Record. All right, welcome to the Rocket Launcher Podcast, episode 162. I am your host, Supreme King. Join with me as always is my co-host, and his name is.
It's your guy Mazes.
It's funny, because I want to mention this in the beginning, because we usually might talk the weather for a second. I think it was funny because I think this would have been, and we still got a couple days, the first white Christmas in a really long time, because it was like snowing really heavily a little bit, and there was a lot of it everywhere, and then all of a sudden just before Christmas it just melted all the way, just like that. It's just gone. So I mean, we still got a few days left, but maybe it might return. I don't know. But for everybody else, happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year's. I would like to say I think we're going to take a hiatus until after the New Year's. This might be our last broadcast for this year. Let me pull up the calendar real quick. So New Year's Day is the 1st. Well, duh. It's on a Thursday. Do you want to pick it back up January 4th? So that's the Sunday.
Yeah.
So we'll do that. We'll take a break for the Christmas weekend. Now, for you, I'm still able to game that Sunday. If you really want to just game, get a full time, we can still do that. But we'll probably just take a hiatus from the podcast. But yeah. I hope everybody's having an enjoyable Christmas. I hope y'all got all y'all games in that y'all wanted to buy, I guess, for Christmas or for a loved one. If not, I mean, it's gonna be hectic in the last 2-3 days doing it. But yeah, might have a short show. Mainly is going to be centered around a couple, shows that we're following up on. From 3.
Such a nice, slight, reasonable number of shows.
Nice, reasonable. Well,
Yeah.
I honestly kind of want to get one of them out of the way, because the one I wanted to just speak on real quick is Choose Wisely Festival official opening showcase 2025. It's a lot. That's such a long title.
Yeah.
But the reason is because I remember them saying, hey, here's 50 games that are all indie games that we're going to show off. Most of them you didn't know nothing about. I watched it in its entirety. For me personally, unfortunately, I didn't really have anything, but I want to give you the floor. Please tell us all about what you like.
When I first saw what this was, because I was like, half of the time I don't pay attention to the title. I just click on the video. Right, and when I saw what it was your choice-driven games, at first I got really excited because I was like, "Yo, is this like a fleshed-out genre?" Because I like games like Dispatch, Heavy Rain, Detroit Become Human, the Until Dawn, and then the Dark Pictures anthology. Games where it has replayability because every choice you make determines how the game goes. So I was like, "Oh, that's what this is gonna be," and then I realized. Not really. It's just a lot of those click narrative games, where I was just like, oh, never mind. These already exist. There's a lot of these. To be honest, most of those, I think, the most fun ones for those is when you find one with a very goofy premise, and then you're with a few friends, and you assign different people, different characters to different people, and they have to voice it in as goofy as possible. I've had fun with that, where it'll be 6 of us going through some of the ridiculous ones. Other than that, it's not necessarily my style for most of them. But the ones that I did pick up, it was 2. First was Glass House. It was a murder mystery in old Britain with this English dude running around in a couple fight scenes, but him trying to figure out some murder and everything. So I thought that one seemed pretty cool. And then this other one, I don't fully know what it's about. And it does have a demo, so I'm going to check it out. It's called the demons told me to make this game.
That
The
sounds silly.
yeah, the only reason why, because it doesn't look like it's the greatest gameplay from what I saw, but they have
Mm-hmm.
a demo, so I'll check it out and see. What got me interested in it was the music. So I had this like
Okay.
pop punk sort of instrumental playing throughout the background the whole time, and it was just like really catchy. Where I was just like, "Yo, what is this?" And I'm trying to figure out the game, but the music. So it might just be a case where I end up picking up the soundtrack for it instead, because the music just felt really catchy. Those are the main two. Um, and of course, the last game they showed off was Dispatch, which I imagine is like why they did this show, because they're like, "Hey, everybody's into Dispatch. Here's what they think is more like it." Where not really.
Okay. Well, at least you got something out of it. I didn't really care too much
You don't want the
for.
K-pop game? There's a
No.
game where you manage a K-pop team, so you got to sign on for artists and like train them and make them the best K-pop group. You don't want that one?
No, I have testosterone in my body.
Yeah, that's why you're the manager. You're not a K-pop member. If
No,
you was a member, then we got some questions. But you the manager. You
I'm
just get the
cool.
money.
I'm cool on that. But no, unfortunately, no. Um, I do enjoy watching the shows and the format that I watch. Because I have like my paper with all the notes and stuff, but then I'll have like a show on one screen, a show on another screen, up
Okay.
to three screens. And so, if something's like dull on one, it's like going, on another one, it's like better. I like to watch cheap sci-fi movies the same way and eat pizza and wings for anybody who cares. But
Oh, I've
yeah.
been doing the multi-video thing. This time I only did two, because I had watched one of them earlier, and then I did the other two. And unfortunately, I watched the Choose Wisely with the horror stream, so I'm sure
Hmm.
we'll talk about that because a lot of the attention was on the Choose Wisely because that
Yeah.
horror stream one was it was
Yeah.
rough.
Um. Yeah, I don't know what was happening there. I honestly, I don't know. I'll get to it in a second, but I don't know if I really want to bash him, or I don't know. But I'll get to it in a second. But yeah, choose wisely. I do think people should check it out and see if they can pluck anything, because it is like I don't think that one was that long, and indie games are really taking over like by surprise right now. And so yes, there
Yeah.
are some bigger name ones that, I mean, the big three was Claire Obscura Expedition 33, Hades 2, and Hollow Knight Silk Song, right?
Yep. And I'll
But
throw number
there's,
four in there. Is I think Dispatch is technically indie.
yeah, so
Um.
a bunch of them are like I think it's a good thing, especially with the upcoming Steam machine and the
Yeah.
handhelds getting more popular and people are opening up to it. So because I
Um.
still believe games should be innovative, and they shouldn't be like predatory, and a lot of indie games are not. But
Yeah.
yeah, go
True.
ahead. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say one thing I do really want to praise them for this stream is because they said they're showing off like 50 games.
Yeah.
They time stamped every game, so if you hover over it for the video, if you didn't catch the name, it displays the name. So they didn't display
Yes.
it in the video, but like for every single game, it was time stamped for each one, and I just appreciate that. And then they even mentioned, I think they even said that like if you go to like the Steam page for this, it has all of the games displayed, and they had mentioned that like this was just the submitted of like the top 50, but they have like apparently a bunch of these style of games that you could just see through on their Steam page,
Hmm.
put together. But I really appreciated them time stamping.
Yeah, I do want to mention something that I was probably gonna say. Well, I'll go back to it later. But Steam, one thing that I have found out about Steam that I didn't know before, that maybe I might sound like a Steam novice. I didn't know you could list games as your favorite. And I had did that, and the reason for it for me was to create a list of games to play throughout the year. going into next year, but you can actually favorite some of the games that are on your library list.
So
And
it'll
it was
suggest like
actually,
nice stuff.
huh?
What if you favorite? Doesn't it also then try to suggest similar
It
games?
might, but it's set up where you can only favorite like what you've already bought.
Oh yeah. So I
So
was like, you favor the ones that you bought or played, and then it tries to curate. Because usually I
yeah,
get it goes, you've played this a lot, so you may like this game.
yeah,
And
it does that for me.
because I just beat Dispatch, but this part is a little upsetting. It goes, hey, you just played Dispatch, so here's all these not safe for work adult games that also have choices that you want. And it's like, I don't. Like, not interested, not interested. Like, I have to keep clicking that. Or it's just like, please stop displaying this. I'm not a creep. But that's good to know that you can favor them or favor them.
Yeah. So I had did that and put together a nice little list because I have like three lists of games that I plan to play in 2026, and we'll get to that later. But yeah, we could move on to the Indie Game Awards, which actually does have a hot topic embedded in this. But the Indie Game Awards was it was honestly because this is where I get canceled. This is where I feel like it was a hijacked show in a way. Like some of these award choices was like, okay, you really like grabbed something like, and you were kind of basing it on things that didn't really have too much to do with games.
So,
But
yeah, what I was wondering is, for part of me, it was like, is it hijacked or was it targeted? Like, part of me, at first I thought maybe like it felt hijacked, and I totally agree with what you're saying. We're probably both going to get canceled. But then I was thinking because of how much of it
mhm.
was hijacked and some of the choice winners over certain other games, like when you start claiming like Indy, but then like Hollow Knight Silk Song got like an honorable mention at some point. And because of that, that's what made me think, oh, maybe this is just a show for that mindset of people
It
instead of
is
it being so I
because
don't know. It's like, is it hijacked or was it targeted towards them and it just wasn't for like we weren't supposed to stumble on it?
they conveniently left out certain locations. It's like, well,
Uh,
if you're gonna target certain areas, you got to do all the areas. That's kind of how I look at it. If we're
yeah, I
being
did notice
fair,
there was certain games that won where straight up like they talked about like some impact for game, and then
yeah.
when the dude was giving his speech, he was just like, "Yeah, so he was like, my game can be beaten in about an hour, so it's nice to know people actually liked it and played it with that like short of a time frame enough that it won." So even he was surprised that he
Yeah.
won. But it definitely had games where it was just like, "Is this a game or therapy?" Because it was just like go through your trauma. It was just like, oh, or not.
Yeah. I didn't really have like games that I actually pulled from this, but I do want to mention a couple things that I saw that I thought was kind of cool. The Playdate made an appearance really early on in the pre-show.
Yeah.
And something that they mentioned that I didn't actually know about the Playdate, or I don't know if it was new, but they said the Playdate has built into it a dev kit where you can actually sit there and make your own game
Oh, that makes
directly
sense.
on the thing. I don't know how that would work, but yeah, that's still a neat
Yeah,
little
crank
thing.
it to move the mouse.
I wonder if like you could if you see a game that somebody made and you just like really study it or something, you just make it yourself. I
Yeah, or I
don't know.
thought you were gonna say like take it and make it better or something, or
Yeah,
like
or if you could open it up and make it better, maybe that would be kind of cool. Um, they
what's
did
crazy?
show a lot of big games at the beginning,
Hmm.
which was the big three that we just mentioned. But go ahead, what were you gonna say?
I was gonna say not to. I'm not trying to bash the show. Um, like nothing really caught my attention, but there was one guy who accepted an award that for some reason he bugged me. Uh, like it was just this weird. Like he like when he accepted his speech, he was just like, something about indie games and like how he was like, yeah, everybody's tending to move towards indie games, which is great because all I play is indie game. But he's trying to like do this whole like anti AAA, like the way he said it wasn't just like I'm mainly interested in indie games. It's just like, yeah, all I play are indie games, you know, because they like care about the. And it was just like, all right, bro, like chill. Like it was, it
Yeah.
would get you a little PSA. Like he was kind of annoying. It was, I think, what was nice about the show is even though it was targeted, like some of the people who won things, you could tell they were kind of praised for their passion, and they probably weren't going to win elsewhere
Mhm.
to a degree because it's hard. Again, it's hard to compare like a dude's passion project, like hour-long game, versus Hollow Knight Silksong, right? Like that's kind of a messed up comparison to try and do. Or with some of the people just saying that like they really got into gaming and they just wanted to really make this thing. So it was nice to see people like playing it and they can't wait to make more. It was almost like a amateur like show, like let's support the amateur people. You can keep going, sort of thing. So that was nice for some of the developers. It was just like, hey, we see you too.
Yeah. So to start it off, one of the first awards that they had was best debut, uh, or debut game award, which they gave to Expedition 33, which is part of the controversy I'm going to talk about towards the end of this award show. But they
Okay.
did that. And right after that, we had the award show, or the award achievement in accessibility. This went to the game Peak. And then here's where we start to see some of the regions, right? So African indie game went to Stick It to the Stickman. I don't know what that means. That's funny. Visual Design Award went to 30 Birds. Best narrative went to a Citizen Sleeper 2, and I think there's more to that name, but I only wrote down Citizen Sleeper 2. Storyteller award went to somebody named Maddie, who was presented. The person who presented it was the maker of Celeste, and I don't know if Maddie also had some affiliation, but that's who won it. And I do like. I think this was the award show where, after everything was like announced, they just went straight into a pre-taped roll and stuff, and it was flowing way better
Yeah.
than the horror game
Oh,
awards.
at one point I didn't know if, which I should have caught on better, but I think I just wasn't like so like zoned in. I
Yeah.
didn't notice at first that like the acceptance speeches were pre-recorded. I think it was also because one dude, when they said they had to accept on his behalf because he wasn't there, so that's why I
Hmm.
thought like some of these were live until one specific guy just goes, "If you're watching this video, that means my game won." Like blah blah blah, and I was like, "Oh, that's why they're going so smooth. That makes sense." But
Yeah.
then it questions me on why like so that other dude didn't submit a video. He could have just like did a quick. There was one where like it was a whole team of people, and it just cut to a person. He's like, "Thanks," and then it cut to the next person. So I was like, "You couldn't send that in, man." Like,
Yeah. It was silly. Shout out to this streamer that I do follow. Ash Says Hi. She does a lot of PG cookie cutter content, wholesome game type stuff, and a lot of old retro stuff too. I do appreciate her retro gaming. But she presented the Women Led Indie Award, which went to Urban Myth Disillusion Center. I don't know that game, but it almost sounds like a whole team of something. I don't know. But that I'm gonna be honest, when I start seeing some of this, I was like, all right, are we gonna get a men led India award? And I was like, probably not. And just I was just like, my sense of humor was starting to kick in a little bit. But community management award went to the team behind Peak, or Team Peck. I think it might be Team Peck. I'm sorry if I got that wrong because I wrote it. It looks like Peck. Team Peck. But here's where I was just like, okay, we're just making a bunch of awards. We're just making them up.
mhm.
That's I kind of that's what I got from it. Um,
Didn't it feel like there was like, and again, this was me kind of half paying attention because I was doing other stuff as well. But didn't it sound like they had like five different games for Impact?
yeah,
Like it
like
felt like
a
five
different
different ones
ones.
were like Impact, and then like I felt like I heard the word Impact several times before someone accepted, and it was just like,
Hmm.
oh, so all of you were. impactful, but then it was like, so the rest weren't like, but yeah.
Um, because some of it was kind of like, yeah, we're really. Now I can understand just trying to highlight indie games and stuff, but it was just like they was really making this stuff up in my opinion. Because what the next one was called bite-sized game. Basically, that was an award, and it went to Time Flies, which was like a pun because it was you play as a fly, I believe, in the game, and like it has something to do with like the time and stuff, and they're messing around with it. And so, but it's a tiny little fly, right? So bite-sized game award. Um,
Oh, I thought bite size because of in length. It was bite size because the character's tiny.
yeah.
Oh, come, because I was about to ask why didn't the hour long game win this?
No,
Oh,
it's because they small.
okay. You know what? Wasn't there? There was host for this show, right? Like not
yeah.
just giving out the award, but I feel like there was like main host or whoever put it together. I feel like if
hmm
they wanted to shout out this many, instead of making up that award, they could have been like each person had to pick their favorite game or something like that. So this is just a hey, I'm like one of the backers for this show or whatever, blah blah blah. Here was my favorite game to give like a shout out instead of just that. That seems really
So like that was the whole gist of this. Like it was so much of this going on because it was just like, well, we're gonna
everyone
do
gets an
games
award.
based on like race, gender,
Mm.
ethnicity, and then like a couple little things that was like in here, added to it. It's just like, all right.
This was
But
the
when
everyone gets an award show.
yeah, and like when you saw the people that they were showing and everything that they were doing, it was like, okay, it's that crowd, because they were that, and I didn't even think that that was what they was gonna do before going into it, so I was completely blindsided. I thought it was just like, your actual just a regular old indie game award, but it was like basing it on all these different things. Um, that I kind of felt like it took away from the games and focused more on the people behind it. Um,
I was about to
for
get canceled.
representation and everything. What you gonna say?
I was about to get canceled.
Go ahead and get
Because
canceled.
oh, surprise, surprise. Did you expect anything different? Of course they had to take the attention away. But
Because at the same time, it's like you do want the game to like, like
we
actually. Well, yeah,
we want the game to
to make sales,
yeah.
make an impact and stuff. It's like, well, we're not really going to focus on the game. We're going to focus on the people behind it. And it's like, well, that takes away from the game itself, right? So now we're
Mhm.
sitting here saying, yay, we're this and we're that. We can do it because we believe in ourselves. But those people who really like to jump into that narrative, they're not going to support the game in real life. Let's really be clear. Like, they're just not. Like, I don't believe
They
that
did
they
their
are.
job. They already yelled. They
Yeah.
yelled at you for not being the one to back it. They did their job. They can go to sleep peacefully.
Um, yeah. And I'm gonna have to apologize to the people because I'm literally sitting here trying to figure out because I didn't write one of them down. ANZ award. I don't know who it went to, and I'm trying to figure out. I may have like not wrote it down, and I got it on. I'm on the website, but and you know what's really bad? I'm on the website, and it's literally still doing. It's highlighting the representation. It's not even going to the games. Like quite literally, if you search the Indie Game Awards, and you look at it, like only the games of the year is shown, and then right after that is like quite literally all the people who made stuff, and it's
Mhm.
like it's you seeing it says representing women-led games, representing like. So yes, that's exactly what this was. So I'll
Yep.
just keep moving on. Community picks. They picked Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Notice
Um,
you notice that though. Think about it.
yeah,
It's every single thing that they are trying to do. Because if we're gonna talk about a bite size, Hollow
yeah,
Knight is a little bug. But like they they picked all this other stuff. But then when he's like, "What does the community
yeah,
choose?" and they chose the real one, Hollow Knight, and that was
yeah.
the one that they just kind of gave a shout out to, and everything. And it's like I feel like that kind of sums it up. the people presenting versus the actual people consuming. Like,
Yeah, gameplay design went to Ball Pit. Shout out to my guy. I'm a fan of this guy, Justin Woodward. He showed up and did the Black Voices Award.
he
But you
almost like
know,
he has to since he's the one that's kind of started it, right?
yeah, he
Like
has a
he's
start. It's just it was kind of silly to me because I was just like we have like 3 or 4 black awards on here already. But yeah, Black Voices Award. No disrespect, that's my guy. Him and his wife do a very good job at making their own shows and stuff with the indie games and stuff. But they showed up here. They gave this award or presented this to. I'm gonna make sure I don't like butcher this too bad, but Athea, the Wrath of a Furry,
Oh yeah,
Aferi. So
yeah. Thea the Wrath of Aphry or something like that.
yeah. And so yeah, that one won that award. Emotional impact went to a game called Ann Roger.
That was the one that was an hour long, and Roger, where they said yeah, it was the emotional impact, and then it cut to him, and he was just like, my game's only an hour, so I was like, it's nice to see this many people actually played it and connected to it, like the way he was like thoroughly shocked.
Yeah.
Uh, that it got to him because it really was just a little hour long passion project.
Yeah. Funny enough, we get to the part where I had a little Easter egg I put in here. So Southeast Gaming Award presented by the Southeast Gaming Showcase people. So I guess there's still going to be a showcase. I think we did do a showcase or watch a showcase from them back in the last summer. So I probably would expect all these people to have award shows this upcoming summer. But they gave it to Artists Impact. I don't know who that is, but I put it an Easter egg because I said Whisper Mountain Break was robbed because that was in the category and that was one of the games that I bought that I want to play soon. But yeah, so it went against that. And then the music award went to Rift of the Necro Dancer.
Which makes sense, as the whole game is a rhythm game.
Yeah. I honestly, so Innovation Award, I literally wrote down some dude, and I don't want to be disrespectful. Let me I don't know how to find that, but because they kind of just start giving it to people, and I'm like, I don't know who that is. Because I was watching too much at the same time. My bad. Innovation. I'll come back to it. Latin American Game Award went to the Pocket Trap devs. Yeah, and I'm gonna be honest, I haven't played a lot of these games, but I have heard of a couple. I've heard of a couple, and they're probably some cool titles. It would definitely be something to really, really jump into when, Steam Machine comes out, or maybe you can create your own Steam Machine or just buy the handheld and you can play a lot of this stuff, right? But we got a couple more awards and then I'll get into the controversy. Solo development went to Tall Trails. Industry impact, I put some dude again. My apologies, y'all. Okay. All right, so this is where I really getting canceled. All right, so the Game Devs of Color Award. This went. I literally wrote down some Black and Asian people because that's what they showed us. And I was like, really? Because when they got to the point where they said Game Devs of Color, I really cringed, dude. Because I hate that in real life. And I know it's a whole nother thing. But I was just like, all right, we didn't give Black people like 4 different awards, so it's just like, what are we doing? But yeah. And then the big one, which was Game of the Year, which went to Expedition 33. I don't have too much of an issue with what they're trying to do. It's just it kind of seemed like we're being blindsided again. Because I went into this no different than all the other award shows from last week, where I was just like, we just about to see a whole bunch of games and just games.
Mm.
But here we didn't really do that. We just saw a whole bunch of representation, and it was just like it came to me. It just felt a little out of place. It just didn't feel like it. It didn't feel like it fit. Because I think if you are somebody who really went through and you were watching every game show, you're probably excited to just see more games. And I don't feel like I didn't get that really. So um, overall, it didn't do too much for me. But that's what that was. Do you have anything to say about this show? Really?
No, I think we said it all, and I think you put it perfectly. It just was. It clearly wasn't about the games, unfortunately.
Yeah, so let's get into the controversy. This is I find this to be kind of funny. So, I think either yesterday or the day before, the Indie Game Awards released a statement where they decided to revoke two awards.
What?
And they have revoked it from Expedition 33. And so the reason
What?
for this so the debut game that they won in the very beginning of this show, and then the game of the year that they won at the end of this show, was revoked by them because they said they're going to take a hard stance against any game that used AI to help build their game, I believe. And
Oh yeah.
I think Expedition did that.
Hmm.
And I think they mentioned that the controversial part was that in the beginning it was mentioned that in order to submit your game to be recognized as something that could go in the award show, you have to like um agree, or you have to like meet a certain standard, and one of the standards that they had was you don't use AI in your game.
Hmm.
And I think they said that the people said they didn't, and then they kind of like found out that they did or something. It was just kind of weird because I was like, I thought we knew this for a while, because I think um it was mentioned that they had like AI that they was working on or worked around like a long time ago, actually, like way back in the like middle of the summer, if I'm not mistaken.
Mm.
But yeah, so that happened. The funny thing about it is it was just like some random dude who was like on selfie cam outside, and he's talking about that. He's like, okay, so we're gonna tell the developers to submit their videos of like winning the awards, but this is gonna go to the next best award in each category. And so what they did was they said that best indie debut game went to a game called Sorry We're Closed.
Oh.
um and funny enough, we'll get to it because that actually was given away today by Epic Games. But that won the best indie debut, and then they decided to give their indie game of the year award to the game Blueprints. And all they did was just kind of like change the graphics online and stuff and release their statement. But I mean, it hasn't really phased Claire Obscure at all. But that kind of just happened. And I mean, for me, I had already played the game. I've already, I enjoyed it. I already knew what was going on before. It wasn't that big of a deal to me. Um, I mean, it's literally 33 people, so they can only do so much. So if they needed help and couldn't afford it, that was what they did. Because I still remember their music literally came from a SoundCloud like person, and it just kind of blew up, right? But that was just what they did. That's what happened. There was no mention of this from like this has nothing to do with Jeff Keighley and his awards show. Obviously, that's like the highest standard one, I guess. Um, but yeah, so that was the controversy. Any thoughts on that?
So, you know what? Stand on your business if you want. I hate the idea of like the companies using um AI, but I think what bothers me more is if they're using AI to specifically not hire a person to do something versus when the person hired is using AI to make their job easier. Um because the person's already hired, so they're like doing stuff, and bringing in another person wouldn't have like done anything different. So I could tolerate it a little, because I think that was the case with Claire Obscure. Like it was the workers using some of the AI stuff, and it's like, okay,
They
versus when
yeah, they actually too. I remember seeing this video clips where their mocap was like done with their own cell phones.
yeah, things like
They
that. So it's
created a
just,
brace for it to put on their face and did it on the cell phone.
yeah. So it's like there's that where it's just like, okay, while I would prefer us not leaning towards AI use, that's to me different and not as bad. Versus again, like the ones where it's like the big, some a lot of times AAA company or even a AA that makes a good chunk of money in donations from it, going instead of hiring a voice actor, we're just gonna let AI do the voice, right? Like I think there's cases for arc raiders doing some of this stuff where they were using AI in a way that replaced someone's job. It was one less person to have to pay to have the AI just do it, and that I don't like at all.
Yeah,
But
from what
also, I'm
I
not.
remember, they had the same 33 people from the very beginning, and it was
Yeah,
like a bunch of people who left Ubisoft
and again, like I said, the
together.
thing that they used AI for, it wasn't like we could pay a person to make music or just let the AI make the music. No, it was the person they hired to do the thing using AI to help them do the thing that they were hired to do. I feel like that's different. Like, but I mean, if you want to have a strong no AI stance at all, then I guess hold
At the
on
same
to it. I
time,
mean,
though, like this is still like just what you said is like the people who think this certain way, like they put them
mm-hmm.
all together and everything, and what they're going against is not necessarily
Claire's
what
did.
they are about, right? Like the big
Yeah,
corporations do it in a whole nother way, right?
yeah, and that's
Uh,
what I don't like.
I just thought it was just kind of goofy when I saw this. I was like, okay, I guess, but
But it almost felt like any way to kind of like give it to some, like they were really trying to give it to the unknowns, and like it didn't sound like they wanted to even give Hollow Knight Silk Song the community one. Like the way they did it too, it was just like, and the winner for this is Hollow Knight, and then like kind of moved on like very quickly. So it sounded like again it was sort of agenda based, and I feel like a reason to take away the award from Claire Obscure was like what they wanted versus.
there's some gray areas here. Like, let's go back to solo development. Came from that's a dude who made Tall Trails, right? So, like, what if it comes out that that dude may have used some sort of AI to help him? He was still a solo developer, right? He probably couldn't afford to pay nobody else. And he probably just wanted to work on his game his way because he would have wanted to do it 100% his way, right? But with the AI, like, is that a controversial thing that he would have used that if he was still a solo developer? Because he's not taking a job
Disqualified.
from somebody else. But is he taking a
Disqualified.
job from somebody else?
I,
He a
I,
solo.
yeah. So again, it's something where I don't think so. Like I think that's a different case. Again,
Yeah,
yeah, somebody who's like, it's a solo project, and you ain't got the money to sit here and be hiring other people. Like that's the whole
yeah,
point. Otherwise, it wouldn't be solo. So,
yeah.
um,
So
yeah,
I don't know.
no, it's a muddy water thing, but I'm sure it just won't come out, so they just won't say anything.
It's it was just silly. But yeah, this is some of the stuff that was happening. Do you remember what's the name of this title on the screen? Because this was
Oh,
your footage.
yeah, this was like WRC, I think, like
Okay.
Wreckfest or something like that. Whoa, this game is difficult. All right, so it's first person driving, but it's not like I thought it was just gonna be racing, like a regular racing game, and it's not. It's
Mm-hmm.
you're trying to get through a dirt path, um, better than like at a faster time than other people without directly racing other people. You're driving and you have a person sitting beside you that like it's the computer talking and guiding you through what you're about to do, like this type of turn's coming up, that type of turn's coming up, and you have to be perfectly exact with every single thing. With like it doesn't just kind of naturally turn, like everything feels weighted and everything, so it's so easy to just be crashing into stuff. You start with creating a character, and I named my guy Wheels McDrivin. Uh,
Okay.
yeah, and Oh, what was the partner's name? So yeah, it was Wheels McDriving. My favorite name. I gotta see if I can remember what the name of the other because I forgot about this game.
Send
It
me
was goofy enough.
send me the
But
name of the game in the DMs because I'm just writing the description.
oh
But
yeah,
yeah, so is it difficult to drive basically?
very much so. Like it does take a skill
Hmm.
base that I wasn't like willing to sit down and try and figure out.
Is this something
Um,
that you think would be better with a race wheel?
oh, 100%,
Okay.
100% better with a race wheel. Like I was doing this, of course, with controller. Because it was a free PS Plus game, and
Hmm.
yeah, that boy was
Wasn't this
woo.
if I'm not mistaken? Because I do think I remember. Isn't this like over 100 gigs to install too? Something like that.
Also that, yeah, it was like 120, I think. It was
Yeah,
beefy.
pretty
Um,
beefy game.
but
But
yeah, it
yeah.
was like I feel like if you're into this type of game, like the realistic driving, the dirt road like type of stuff, like if this is the type of thing you're into, then you're gonna enjoy this. If it's not if you're willing to give it a try, give it a try. If you know it's not kind of your thing, you're not gonna like it. It does have a high skill level. I think they're assuming this isn't the first one you've played as well. The beginning does try and get you through some tutorial stuff, but yeah, I felt like a horrible driver. I felt like the worst driver playing this. It was rough.
Okay. And it's mainly in the view of being in the cockpit. No, they don't have you
Yep,
go behind the car at all.
you were purely just in the driver's seat going like that is it.
Okay, I think I found it. So this is EA Sports WRC 24.
Yep, that one.
WRC 24. Okay. All
Uh,
right.
yeah, I'm
Well,
trying to see. I might bring it up later if I can find because I had taken a picture of when I named this dude. Uh, but yeah, I know it was Wheels McDriving, and I couldn't remember what my uh passenger's name was because you named both.
all right. Well, we can move forward to our unofficial sponsor, Epic Games, where they give away free games every week, and we highlight them here because they're free. But this particular time frame is when they start giving out games every day. So you actually want to definitely pay attention to them. You can still go at it from your phone, but they release their new title that they're giving away at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And they have done this from the 18th till now. I think it's going straight into New Year's, maybe, because I think it's like 16 or 17 titles.
Hmm.
But the 18th was Jonah Slayer. Um, I think did I say that right? Let me look. Um,
It's something
Johan
like
Slayer.
yeah, something Viking like
Yeah,
Slavic.
Hordes of Hell. So
Hmm.
it's a Diablo-ish looking clone. Well, I won't say clone, but it looks similar
Okay.
to the Diablo.
Hmm.
Um, the game that came out on the game that they gave away on the 19th was Eternights.
Hmm.
Funny enough about this one, this was actually a game that I kept being hesitant on getting. I think the PS5 version. It's more of like a anime-ish hack and slash type title. It usually hovers around like $25 to $30 if you were buying it physical. But I just never really decided to actually buy it. But then they gave it here, so I was excited to have it here. So it'll be a part of my Epic collection. So that's Eternights. On the 20th, they gave Blood West. I think that was more of a first person shooter. The graphics make it look somewhat like old school cartoonish a little bit. But that's Blood West. And then today, the 21st, as of this recording, it was Sorry We're Closed. And this was the game that they took the Expedition 33 debut award away from and handed it to this title. So if it was second best, maybe it might actually, be really, really good. But The rest of the titles, starting tomorrow, is still a mystery right now, but just make sure you're paying attention to Epic Games at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time every day leading into New Year's, and you should be able to get everything. I will say, usually Christmas Eve or Christmas Day, definitely be paying attention because they usually give away a AAA title. So pay attention to that. Um, were you about to say something? My bad.
Oh no, I found the details of my created character for the WRC game.
Okay. Oh, it looked like the footage just changed, but yeah. If you want to say it, go ahead.
All right, so he was black Icelandic. His name was Wheels McSpeeden. That's what it was. Wheels McSpeeden. First name Wheels, last name McSpeeden. Nickname Mango. Driver number 69. And his co-driver, which I thought was going to be a guy, but they switched it on me and made it a girl, even though in the tutorial it was a
Hmm.
guy. So, and I had named him. His first name was Boygo, so Boygho, and last name was
Hmm.
Vroom Vroom, so Boygo Vroom Vroom.
All right. Cool. I did want to mention there was a couple things that I think I glanced around from the Game Awards with Jeff Keighley. Um, we kind of didn't really go over or didn't give the just desserts to Resident Evil 9 or Resident Evil Requiem. Even though I mean they've gotten their praise so much, I thought it was interesting that they got such a loud pop from the crowd when they show Leon showing
Which
up in the game.
I laughed
You
because
laugh.
isn't the other character Rebecca, right? Is that who you're playing
Yeah.
as? So I thought it
No, no,
when
no, no, not
who
Rebecca,
is it?
but I don't think her name is
Okay.
something else, but it's the blonde girl.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, when they were like, "Here's the survival horror game you're playing as the blonde girl," and everybody's like, oh, "Okay, cool, another Resident Evil," and then they're like, "Oh, by the way, Leon," and everyone's like, "Yeah!" Like it was just clearly
Yeah.
everybody just wanted to be Leon. I think it was the same thing when they were like from Resident Evil 8, where most people were like, some were really into it, but most people were like, "Oh, cool!" Like for Village when it was playing, so it was like, "Oh, cool, this guy again, all right, back to the survival horror or whatever." And then they were like, "Here's Chris," and then everybody just lost it. So
Yeah.
clearly, these are like fan favorite people.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting that they said hers is going to be your stealth survival horror, and his is going to be your action Resident Evil.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, they had a really big pop there. The actual game of the year, Expedition 33. I think it's good to mention it at this point of the podcast. I took a look and researched some of their physical editions. And the collector's edition, I believe, is a GameStop exclusive version. Um, and it's $150. That one has a really nice statue with it that's like based on like the theme of the game. But I am proud to report that that collector's edition actually does come with a physical disc, which we've seen with so many other collector's editions that it'll have a steel book and some artwork and a statue and literally no actual disc for the game. But this one does. So if you were to buy that, you will get the
Yeah,
actual
mine did.
disc with it.
That's what I did.
Um,
It was the disc, the steel book, and this cool looking art book.
you got the collector's one, or did you get like a deluxe?
For Clair Obscura, it was the deluxe one.
Okay. They do have another deluxe version that is an Amazon exclusive. I'm really contemplating getting that one because I think the cover on there looks really dope. I thought it looked the best. If I'm not mistaken, the collectors or not collectors, the deluxe versions are like 60 or 70. The regular version is like 50. You might be able to find it for cheaper than that. And then it's still a Game Pass title currently. Um, is there any games or sales or anything that you want to mention from like Amazon?
Oh, nope. They still have the other games that I've mentioned before, I think a couple weeks ago, that you could
Hmm.
pick up from the Amazon free games. So still giving away a few from there. Make sure to grab those.
I do want to mention just real quick for The Switch 2. So I just beat another game that I'll put on my beaten games lists today actually. But for the last couple of days, like coming home from work, I was like really, really tired, and there was almost like a few times where I almost dropped the Switch while I had it in my hand, just sitting there. And so it kind of prompted me to go and get a case for it. And I got the premium case from D brand that they call the Kill Switch. They had a Kill Switch case that they had for the Steam Deck, like when that first came out. So it was funny how they had the same name for the Switch, and like they actually designed it to work with the Switch, and the Switch didn't block it or block the dock thing that came with it. But um, I do recommend this. I know initially the D brand's Switch case, if people remember, the first batch of them had some errors or in it or something like that. Like literally, like it was one of the Joy Cons was falling off or something like that, and like it would basically drop the Switch from out of your hand. And I was hesitant on getting it. I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that. But they fixed that, and people were putting out videos saying, yeah, it's fixed. And this actually was in Best Buy stores. And so I did pay the premium for it because it is an expensive unit. And got it. The Best Buy version, I believe, is like $70-ish. I think it normally retails at like 80. But like I think it was on sale, quote unquote. It was like $76 altogether with tax. But it, like, if anybody knows, the Switch 2 is like really flat. It's almost like how iPods are, or not iPods, iPhones without a case. But the case itself actually recreates like grip on the back of the actual Joy-Cons that you can actually rest your hand around and it feels comfortable. Highly recommend it because it really made me want to actually start playing with this thing. Because before I was only just trying to get past one of the games. And then it has like grip sticks that you would put on top of it. This is all that what came into the kit from Best Buy, which makes the Joy-Con sticks feel like they're regular size joysticks, which is also really good. Because I know I was speaking on the Nixie controllers from before, or Nixie Joy-Cons for the first Switch. Which I do still recommend people get for that system. But with the Switch 2, obviously it was not the same type of ergonomics, but this case really, really helps it. And then it has this regular case that you would just put hard case on the actual Switch itself, with the travel cover, with like I guess the thing where you put all the cartridges in. I may not ever actually put the cartridges in that thing, but that clamps down on it and makes a really hard, sturdy case where it is actually travel friendly. And then it has the dock adapter on there, so you don't have to take the thing apart. You just slide it down on the dock and it charges and it still plays like normal. So I do recommend it. The only thing it didn't come with was the screen protector, which I actually thought it was going to have a screen protector in the box. If you're somebody who still really feels like you need the screen protector, you just have to buy it separate. For me, I don't really like the screen protectors like that because it kind of just like messes with the image for me. Maybe it's because I don't put it on right, but it'll be like a bubble here and there, or maybe dirt or something somehow got under it even though I wiped it down. So I don't plan on dropping it. But I did almost drop it like earlier in the week, and I was just like, okay, maybe I should go and get this case just in case. But yeah, dope case. I just wanted to mention that. Sales, I don't really know too many sales. It was just one game that I did get from the Horror Game Awards that they mentioned. Funny enough, it was a game called Conscript. We'll get to it later. Director's Cut. And it looked similar to like a Resident Evil type game with a World War One setting. Um, we'll talk more about it later, but on Steam it was normally $20, and when I went to it to wish list it, I saw it was like marked down to like $6, $6.79. I think it was like $7.01 at the checkout because of tax, and I was just like, okay, that's not a lot at all. So that's the only other thing I could talk about when it comes to sales. Um, but yeah, Indy news or any other news. The only news really was just what happened with this award show, taking it back from taking their main title, their main award back from Expedition 33.
Yeah,
You
no,
know what's
crazy.
really funny about it too? I think that might hurt their show more than it's gonna hurt the game because
Hmm.
everyone is pro the game, So that's them. I don't know. They might get some backlash, but what else were you about to say?
Oh no, that was it. I had nothing.
No games, no nothing. Okay.
Mm-mm.
No Christmas shopping for games. You ain't buy nothing.
No, I
No.
got my stuff for Black Friday. Before and now I'm in my I need to beat things mode
Oh
before I
yeah.
start trying to get more things.
Yeah. I was really trying to flesh out from before because starting next year, I didn't really want to spend on anything. Yeah, I wanted to beat games as well and focus more on trying to gather the library for DS, 3DS, PSP, and Vita for that Thor device. The Aeon Thor is still available in all its different forms right now. There's not really any sales on it. You just go get it. But I didn't want to grab mine until I actually have the library ready, where I have the full library, have all the artwork and everything, so I could just be like, okay, boom, drag and drop, boom, here's my device. Um, so yeah, so I'm hesitant on that for now. And yeah, we could move forward to probably one of the biggest debacles of a show
Mhm.
ever. Because what I think is highly unacceptable how this happened. Somebody should be fired. I don't know what happened, but the Horror Game Awards 2025. There was a lot of awards and stuff where it was just the audio basically took away from not only the awards but so many games that they were showing off that were all horror based, and
Mhm.
it was just no audio. It was like the audio works when we're showing this game, but this other person's game who really wants people to watch their game, it was like no audio for this one. Technical difficulty screens like every couple minutes or something. And they were really trying to be an award show because they had like a ballroom or something. People were in there. I don't know if they had food or anything, but they were talking and stuff. And it was just like, what happened? It was just crazy. Um,
So at first I thought something was wrong with my audio because I watched this show this morning and I had it side by side with the the what's that first one we talked about? The choice one.
choice,
Um,
choose wisely
yeah,
festival.
choose wisely. So I had them kind of both playing, but I didn't like load up the choose wisely one yet because I was setting up the horror one, and then I went to go pull up the choose wisely one, and I was just like, yo, is something wrong with my audio? And I was trying to figure out something was wrong, so I just clicked to the middle of the video, and I heard like muffled talking and
Yeah.
everything, which I'm happy I clicked far enough because I would have clicked, still heard nothing while people were on the screen, and definitely would have thought something was wrong with my audio. But then I pulled up to choose wisely, and it just heard things back like right away, and I was like, oh, it's the video. So like one, even on their little, the countdown, there was no music, and that's the first time I that's happened. It was just pure silence of a countdown. Yeah, then it was just that audio is so bad they cut to a screen that said technical difficulties for a good time.
They
I
had to
even
just
wrote
make
down.
it. I really feel like they made it real quick and then loaded it in
Mhm.
there just to go to it.
So what I
Yeah.
wrote down was it was it took them when the show started, it
Yeah.
took them 17 minutes to even notice that there was just no audio, then 7 minutes to actually fix it, but then after 3 minutes, the audio went right back out, and then it came back on 3 minutes later, and I think it just kept cutting in and out for the whole thing, and it was not good. It kind of just shows if you're gonna do a live show or something like that, you should have a backup like recording. Like
I
you should,
just
if you're
kind of
gonna
felt
try to do
like, yeah,
live,
they.
two cameras, like one that you're gonna record and edit everything, and then one that can do the live stream setup. So then they're like, oh, our live stream messed up. The proper video will be coming soon.
Yeah, I think cuz I think they mentioned this was their first ever award show. They need to like do a year or two where it's not live, where it's just pre-recorded. They got it like set up and then try to go to a live feed. Cause like, how do you mess up the audio like that bad? Like I just in my head I'm like, ain't it just like, OBS or whatever we use and stuff? Like, just hit the button. Like, I don't know.
But like,
I think they might have been panicking too. I think that's probably the thing.
But like, my thought process was like, I don't know if you remember, it was very early when we first started this podcast. There was like one time where I don't think we hit the record button correctly, so it only picked up my audio and everything. And it was like, super early on. And so that could have happened where they just forgot to pick up the audio. They didn't set it up correctly to properly pick up audio, because even when the audio was on, it was muffled. So I think something was wrong with their connection, like their cables and everything that was connecting to the mics. But it was like, you only planned for the live stream and you didn't have a separate camera to make like, because I thought they would have had a separate one to make a sharp edited version to upload. Yeah. And it was like, you gotta have a backup. I don't know. It's like, even for like one of my summer jobs and everything, I do some recording and stuff with people, and I do like, because I'm going to edit it later, but I have my main setup for recording and a side setup that's recording and a side thing that's only collecting audio, because it's like, I'm not dealing with something like not working right. So there was one year where the audio from my main recording was atrocious. Like, it was just bad, but I had that backup audio recording, so I just needed to reline them up. So I just had to, go in and like try and match up when the voices started versus when the person started talking. Got that, and then I was able to line up the audio and stuff correctly for the video. But it was like, as an amateur as I am, I wasn't taking no chances. So I feel like if this is your first show, you got to be prepared with some backups just in case.
I think too, like with us, sometimes we might be in our own little world and just kind of like, okay, go. But with them, it's like they could have, like, without posting, like, did a couple test runs or something, maybe on a dummy account where nobody know, like, any little thing.
Some of the recording would have been from the 30-minute kickoff where they were just doing the countdown. They could have tested audio there, like do a quick live stream of just like, hey guys, like, welcome to blah blah blah, like during the countdown, like talking about it while somebody's sitting back and making sure everything's picking up, right? Like, you have to have an extra person just making sure things are streaming correctly. Like, I don't know, it's weird if you're gonna do a live show like that. Every time I see somebody doing a live, like a live podcast or any of the live show stuff, there's always a separate person that's over or like listening, or they're doing it on Twitch where like the comments are saying we can't hear and things like that. Like, there's always somebody checking to make sure the audio is okay. And it felt like that wasn't really happening here, or the person just didn't know how to do it and didn't say anything.
Yeah, so it was a little disappointing to see. I will say the people who are really trying to support, like, I looked at the comment section, they were still more positive. There was some people saying, when you're going to just release, the edited version and stuff like that. So at least they were kind to them. I would say, overall, there were certain things where, like, they were presenting an award and a dude just shows up like gets it and then says something, but you couldn't hear any of it, so I didn't even know what the award was. I didn't even know who won it. And that was like a part of the whole thing, but I'll go over what I have. So it was their first ever show. They were in the UK. The full name of this is actually Lost in Cult Presents the Horror Game Awards 2025. I don't know who Lost in Cult is, but they presented it. They did start off with their horror skits, where it was like trying to do some sort of Blair Witch-ish thing, where somebody was trying to find all the nominees in the woods or something, and they were messing up with the audio during some of those skits. But that was how they tried to start it off. And they were showing off a lot of games, and they had like rain, like the audio was sounding like rain audio for me in the beginning, because that's what I had wrote down. I was like, oh, it's rain audio track playing through all of it. I was like, oh, that's actually not rain. That was them having technical difficulties. And then they put the technical difficulty screen up. At one point, it was just no audio whatsoever. And I did write down, how did they mess this up? IDK, who won the first award. Yeah, because the first award, we had no audio for whatsoever. The horror content creator of the year went to somebody. They just showed a bunch of content creators. I don't even know who they gave it to, but some people you may know, some people you don't. Yeah, it is what it is. After about an hour, they did get the audio to work for a second. And then they did the best VR horror game. And what did I put? Some dude said, putting on the production for this is no easy feat. And he wanted to have the people in the audience give a round of applause to them. The people who are like handling production. And I don't know if you saw that part, but literally the audio cut out as soon as they had stopped applauding. Like again, I was like, man, you can't make this up. But best indie dev went to somebody I think named Jordan King. And they were going on and on about the game The Midnight Walk. Technical Achievement Award, I have Silent Hill F. Lifetime Achievement went to Hideo Kojima. And I don't think they cut to a video or anything of him. They just kind of said that, and that was it. He was not there. Best Art Direction went to Look Outside. That's actually the name of it, Look Outside. Best Soundtrack, Doom: The Dark Ages. I was happy to see that. Very, very cool game, very fun game, and yes, it has like a crazy soundtrack, a lot of heavy metal if you're into that type of music. And then they show, like, the only game that I actually did pull from this show, Conscript. Like I said before, it's like a Resident Evil looking game, World War One setting. Director's cut comes with all the content. $6.79 before tax. After tax, it was $7.01 for me. Best narrative went to Silent Hill F. Best performance went to someone named, I gotta make sure I don't butcher this, Konashu Kato. Yeah, so I don't know what the game was that she won it for, but I think they may have shown a package for her. Most anticipated horror game, obviously Resident Evil 9, Resident Evil Requiem. Most accessible horror went to Little Nightmares 3. And then player's choice was a game called No, I'm Not a Human. And then their game of the year, which is probably obvious, was Silent Hill F. Which is like the big horror game. And they tried, but yeah, it was just no good. It was not good. Overall, I would hope that they learn from it, because I would love to continue to watch their award show like anybody else. And come back next year. And next year they'll have it right, and we probably just forget about how bad it was this year. But I do like the idea that other award shows can, happen, and other showcases where, it's not just Jeff Keighley. Jeff Keighley does not need to have a monopoly. We can have like other, because then you go start seeing like only whoever pays them the most gets the most screen time and all of that. The awards are like, you know, listed off just as quickly as I listed it off on the actual show, and nobody gets a speech and is like, okay, back to the person who paid me the most time. And I don't think award shows should be like that. But anything else you want to say about this award show? Were you disappointed?
Yeah, kinda. It sucks that so many mess ups for it. Hopefully they
Mm-hmm.
can fix that. Directive 8020 still looks good. And then one that I got excited for first because I stopped paying attention because I was looking at the other screen, and then I
Mm-hmm.
saw it said Resurrection of Biohazard story,
Mm-hmm.
and I got excited. I thought it was another animated Resident Evil, and I was like, "Yo, they got to announce it." I rewinded and realized it was like a fan film, and I went, "Oh, all right, never mind."
Yeah.
Because usually if I see that word Biohazard, it's like usually the animated films. So yeah, I got excited and it wasn't that. But yeah, I wish them the best for trying to do better. It is nice to have like a themed like horror one because there's a lot of like horror games and like not a lot of them get shine. So um yeah,
I
hopefully it
do
gets
want to
better.
say one thing too, because yes, I'm gonna be controversial with it. It was horror themed, and even with the audio cutting in and out, you could tell they weren't trying to do any type of propaganda, any type of politics whatsoever. It was still a strictly horror themed award show. They didn't get
Yes.
hijacked from nobody. They just had a horror game show, and that was it. That's all I want to say for that. I
I wonder
appreciate
who
that.
that I wonder who that's targeted at.
Yeah, all. I'm like, where the straight white male award? I don't know, but anyways, uh, all right, real quick, games beaten 2025. Um, I know 2025 ain't really over yet. We got like a few more days. But really, I really was expecting to do this on the 2026 show. That the games that coming out in January, and then like, what do you plan to play? But I think we could probably just move some of that up to right now. So games beaten 2025. Do you have a list? Did you ever
I sure
write that
do.
down?
I did
Okay.
because I keep track of how many games I beat per year.
Okay. What you got?
Ready? All right. So the first game that was beaten this year was my second time playing Castle Crashers. With my two peeps. Then we beat that trash game Lords of the Fallen.
This
And
Lords of the
then
Fallen, most anticipated Lords of the Fallen sequel coming
boom.
soon.
Then another bad game, Dragon Age: The Veilguard. And then after that, we got Uncharted 4, and then we went through Left 4 Dead, and then High on Life. So I'm excited for High on Life 2. Persona 5 Tactica, and then we played Saints Row and Dead Island, and
Mm-hmm.
then I consider it beaten because I went through and like won it over a bunch of things. Balatro, um, just because I beat a both into like I got a bunch of the challenges done.
Mm-hmm.
Tiny Tina's Wonderland, Guacamelee 2, Until Dawn finally. Then we beat the main game for Diablo 4, and then I just beat a round of Dispatch. Um, with my very specific firing coupe. Um, Invisigirl goes bad, and I romanced Blonde Blazer, like, because those are the three big decisions of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and then I'm currently playing and hoping to beat before the year's end, so we'll see. The Outer Worlds 2.
Okay. Um, I gotta apologize to the people for having what I think is a short list, but it's
Oh, I was
technically
busy this
not.
year.
Um, it's 15 titles here. I
Oh,
think I have.
dang, man,
It's
that's not
15
short.
titles. That's not.
That's
That's
more
not
than
short.
one a month. That's more than one. I try to plan for 12 all the time, but no, that's more than one a month. That's good.
The first game I have on here is the legendary Lords of the Fallen. The first one,
Whoa!
the legendary game.
Whoa!
Uh, it was one of the main events of this past Game Awards, by the way. The
I
sequel.
wouldn't know. I didn't get to see the ending.
Okay, all right. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. This is one of my Game Pass titles. Black Ops 6. Also one of my Game Pass titles. Left 4 Dead, like you mentioned, along with Saints Row, are co-op titles. Metroid Prime Remastered. That was a interesting time that I was playing with that. Here's one that might be controversial to somebody, but Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So yes, when I beat each board at first place, it rolled credits, and I wasn't expecting it. And I was like, oh, so you know what? Yes, I count that one. Yes.
I would too.
And then the greatest game of the year, Claire Obscure Expedition 33. I love this title. Amazing title. Dead Island Definitive Edition. And then the cool little game that I was secretly playing on the Steam Deck, Power Rangers Super Legends from the PS2. Pretty cool title. Tiny Tina Wonderland was one of them. The game called South of Midnight, another Game Pass title. South of Midnight, funny enough, is the game itself is fine. It's funny, all the stuff that's being said from the people who made it, just for those same people to not show up at the actual Game Awards themselves to actually accept the award. We'll move on. Doom, The Dark Ages, amazing, fun title, very fun. I definitely think in 2026, because some of these games I plan to play the sequels to in 2026. Doom, The Dark Ages, what I'm going to do is probably go back to Doom 2016 to play as the second title. I do plan to play Metroid Prime 2 as well, but we'll keep going. Diablo 4. Yes, that one at the Game Awards got a big expansion that they are announcing that I believe, if I remember correctly, is coming out April 2026. And it's a $40 expansion. And then the game that I beat earlier today on this beefed up Switch 2 was actually Digimon Cyber Sleuth. I was at the very end for it. I was really happy with what I played. I do say I was a little annoyed with some of the grinding for certain people, because at the end of the day, I could not get Bieltsamon. Bieltsamon, funny enough, the character that I had that was good enough to like change into him, I had you needed 250 attack points, and he was maxed out at level 99 with 249 attack, and I had every other condition.
You didn't want to,
and I was just like, no, because I feel like at that point you're not really respecting my time. That's just me. So but I was able to get Black Wargreymon, Black Metal Garurumon, but didn't actually get to the point where I made the Omnimon for it. But I did get the regular Omnimon. I didn't get Alphamon, but Alphamon, I mean, he shows up anyway, so I was like, all right, so I'm not going to be too mad about it. I got the Crimson Mode version of Gallantmon, who was practically, that was like, he ended up being my main guy, actually, over Omnimon towards the end. I remember, like, so this game particularly actually technically took me like 2 years, because I kept putting it down and playing so many other things. But in my earlier playthrough, I do remember running through a bunch of grinding with platinum Numamons everywhere, right? And just like really boosted it, and then forgot about all the different characters. And then when I came back into it, I was like, yo, I got all these Mega Digimon. And I was able to go through the game and like really play the last few chapters with a lot of strong Mega Digimon. So I was satisfied there, but you could tell it was set up where you were supposed to struggle through some of those fights,
Yeah.
and I did not struggle through the fights. So
So I will
yeah.
say, first, I think for mainly the first one, probably the second one too. Really the first one. For the first one, I didn't struggle until the final boss.
Mm-hmm.
Where I even went in, and that's why I think I did through all the grinding, was because I knew how difficult that final boss was going to be. And then it was like I still barely won, and I did get Beelzemon, and then I also had Omnimon and Omnimon Black, as
Mm-hmm.
well. I had Jessmon, which is like this one that looks like a skeleton,
Yeah.
and Durandamon, one of my favorites, the gold one with his limbs are swords.
Mm.
Uh, and I don't remember who the last one on my team was. It was another, like Mega or whatever, but
Yeah.
barely used. It was mainly there to kind of help revive the. Oh no! It was Magna Angemon, I think.
Okay.
It was either Magna Angemon or it was that
Serafi.
fusion
Oh.
between. Or sorry, yeah, Seraphmon, or the fusion between Angelwoman and Deviwoman. It was one of those two. I can't remember which. So you're right. It was
Storyline
either.
wise, I was kind of confused because I remember it came up. They did it like they showed off the old girl's cats that turned into them
Yeah.
that did the thing, but then afterwards she just never came back. At
Yep.
first, I thought she gave you that one,
Oh yeah. No,
but
I wait.
she just never came
Also, I
back.
will say though, it was pretty weak. Like that's why I think it was Seraphmon
Hmm.
that I used. Oh, dead wrong. I actually remember who it was now.
Okay.
Rust. It was Rust Tyrannomon. 'Cause I needed a Chaos guy.
Okay.
Another a second virus. One, and it's the giant metal Tyrannosaurus with the like giant electric cannons on its back.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, when I played Hacker's Memory, I thought the final boss was going to be another one where it's just a damage sponge. So I grinded a bunch before going in, and then beat it before it finished all of its dialogue.
Yeah. I do think I might end up going directly back into Hacker's Memory because it prompted me to do
Yep.
New Game Plus. The only reason I want to do it is because I think the game is a good game to play when you just want to sit back with a handheld and just do some turn-based stuff after work.
Mm,
Because like once I'm done, I don't actually have another turn-based game unless I go pick up one of the handhelds and play Pokemon Emerald, which I do think I might end up still doing because I want to finish games. I don't want to
as
just
you
start.
should. Best one, in my opinion.
Um,
It's nostalgia, but it's that was my first Pokemon game, and to me, the best Pokemon game.
yeah, it's just I really like the form factor with this case on the Switch. So I might end up doing Hacker's Memory. I don't really know yet, but I do want to mention real quick the games that I plan to play in 2026, and I've said it a few times. Is a lot of the sequels to the games I've already beat. So one of them will be Metroid Prime 2, but there's also going to be a lot of Blast from the Past type stuff. So a lot of old, I don't say all of them, but maybe at least two old Spider-Mans like Shattered Dimensions, Edge of Time, those type of
And
ones.
and you gotta
Uh,
mention the best one, the goat, Web of Shadows.
Web of
Don't skip
Shadows.
that one. That's the goat. That is the greatest.
Yeah. And then the Wolverine Uncaged Edition Wolverine game. Fall from Cybertron. What else? The first Ninja Gaiden, because I kind of just stopped. And then kind of go through some of those Ninja Gaidens. And then like Infamous 2, God of Wars, all the God of Wars that was on like the PSP in that collection. A lot of those type of titles, but I will have some bigger titles that are newer that I do want to mention. Obviously, I need to finish Bloodborne. I had stopped because there were so many other titles. But before I touch Bloodborne, I'm going to touch one particular game, That's a Souls-like game right away in January, and that's going to be Lies of P. And the reason is because I pay for another PS Plus. I don't want to just go through PS Plus and not play the PS Plus titles. And Lies of P is one of them that I wanted to buy, but just ended up not doing it because it didn't really go down in price. But it was given away on there, so it's like I'll play through it. If I really, really enjoy it, then I'll play the Overture DLC and I'll pay for that at some point when it goes on sale. So that's like a big one I'm going to play. I'm still going to run through the Master Chief Collection on Xbox, and then the Switch. I need to finish Tears of the Kingdom, which is the Zelda game, and then Super Mario Galaxy, which is like me playing again because the in-game part was taken from me way back when, and I don't need to go into that story. But yeah, and that's my 2026. Obviously,
right.
there's gonna be some monkey wrenches thrown in there, some new stuff here and there, possibly GTA. But yeah, that's 2026. How about you?
All right, so I always try to plan out 10 games that I plan to play for the year. That leaves me 2 spots for whatever co-op that we're going to play, because the goal is always to try and beat 12 co-op. And then I also know that something might get switched out depending on what, like, if PS Plus or Epic surprises with something that I really want to play, and I just jump straight to it. So with that said, the main games I plan on playing, I'm planning on giving Digimon Survive a second playthrough, because I want to
Okay.
unlock the true ending of the game. So you have like a okay ending and a really bad ending, and then you get the true ending, and you only get the true ending the second time you play it, for whatever reason. They locked
Yeah.
it. You can't get it the first time. It's because you have to build points with like camaraderie with your people, and the amount of points you need to with one person that leads to the true ending, it caps in the story before you're able to reach it. And then when you do a new playthrough, it picks up the points where they left off. So you're only able to do it during the second playthrough.
Okay.
Um,
I got one more title. I'm gonna let you finish, but you reminded me of something. But go ahead. Go
okay.
ahead.
Besides Digimon Survive, I'm also gonna play Digimon Story Time Stranger.
Okay.
I'm getting to that. So I was planning to start that this year, but it's gonna be moved to next year. Claire Obscure Expedition 33, which was again supposed to be started this year. The
hmm
plan was to do it this year, but I think Outer Worlds is going to take me a little bit longer than I expected. So I plan for it next year. But if I finish, that'll be immediately the next game I start is Claire Obscure. I
Okay.
want to play the Sea of Stars DLC for that game. I love that game, and I finally bought a physical copy of it instead of just the PS Plus one that I used, because I want to own this game and I want to play through the DLC. Persona 4 Golden. I need to get back into my Personas and finish these.
So
So
that was the
Golden.
title. That was the title. But yeah.
Okay. Um, in terms of a slightly older game that I want to get through, I want to get through the Darksiders trilogy. So 1, 2, and
Okay.
3.
Yeah.
So I have those. A game that I started, but by no means am I gonna finish it this year, is Hades, which I've been playing on the Switch.
hmm
Roguelike. I'm trying. Right, there's 4 stages, but it took me 18 runs to get past the first stage. So,
Are you playing
yeah,
that handheld?
I switch back and forth.
Cause I was
Usually
gonna ask
handheld because
like,
I play it while laying down. But
yeah.
occasionally I play against the computer, the
But
screen.
you're using the Nixie Joy Cons though, right?
Sure am.
Because
Yup.
I know that's a game that is like notorious. Well, it's not the game's fault, but like when you're fast playing on the Switch, like that's what gives you the Joy-Con drifts, you know?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And not only that, it would be super uncomfortable because of how much you have to like essentially button mash to a degree.
Yeah.
And holding the old like Joy Cons that long and that angle is gonna hurt after a while. So yeah, this is full of Nixie controller. And
Right.
then the new game will be Marvel's Wolverine. I'm probably gonna end up getting that right away. Uh and play through it. That's kind of the main one. So those are my 10 that I have planned out for next year. And then we'll see what co-op games we end up playing, and then if anything, switches for something randomly that just like released. Um
I know
there's a few other
Whisper
games I plan on
Mountain was
picking
one of
up
them that I
next year.
wanted to do.
Okay. I'll be
But
down.
that's only 3 hours though. But yeah,
Oh
what
yeah.
else you was gonna say?
Oh, there's a few other games that I plan on picking up next
Mm-hmm.
year, but I don't think they'll get started next year. So like James Bond, like the 007 First Light,
Yeah.
and for sure Lego Batman,
Yeah.
the Legacy of the Dark Knight. Those are like hands down. I'm getting those two games. I don't know if I want to spend full price on a Lego game though. Like even though I know this game is expansive and looks really good, in my head it's like it's still a Lego game, and I don't want to drop 60 or 70 on a Lego game. So that might wait until it's on some kind of sale. And then we'll see what else drops. But yeah, those are the main ones.
All right, we could probably get ready to get out of here, but I do want to mention real quick because I pulled it up my Steam favorites list because that was
Mm.
still also on there. Which funny enough has one very big game in here that I can't believe I forgot. But um, the first thing on this list, this is not that long of a list, but Eight Colors Star Guardians Plus, and then a Kimbot, and then Batman Arkham Origins.
Hey,
And then obviously, so yes, I did not finish this. Black Myth Wukong. And then Blasphemous, that's the first Blasphemous. A game called Fez, which was really just a little puzzle-ish type game where you switch dimensions. That I was playing a little bit more often. And then Just Salt, Steam, and Cider. I'm pretty sure that one is like a hack and slash where you play as a girl that kind of looked like Carmen Sandiego, like a red Undertaker outfit.
okay.
um, Hollow Knight Silk Song. So Hollow Knight, the first Hollow Knight, I believe the complete edition I'm actually playing currently. I didn't mention that, but that's one I'm like kind of playing here and there. I do want to finish that and play Hollow Knight Silk Song, because
Sounds
I
good.
do have that. A game that I've reported on a long time ago when I was doing more solo content. Koa and the Five Pirates of Mara. It's like a little Dora the Explorer platformer ish type title. Completely separate from almost everything else that I have on this list. That one is like the Where's Your Testosterone type game. But yes, I have that on here. Left 4 Dead 2, which I would like to get to more sooner than later. And then Octopath Travelers, which I actually might pause this one because I think the new one is Octopath Travelers Zero, right? So I'm gonna do some
Hmm.
research and see if that one is like chronological a certain way, and I might just start with that one before this one. Persona 4 Golden, we mentioned. Raven's Watch, which I think is similar to Diablo.
Hmm.
I wanted to do that one kind of like co-op. A game called Song of Iron. It looks like a Viking type game that's 2D, almost like a 2D God of War, but you're almost Thor-ish. It's similar to my character from Diablo, funny enough. Um, and then Blast from a Pass here that I actually bought. Um, so it's not an emulation version. This is the real version on Steam. Sonic Adventures 2,
Cool.
which originally was on the Dreamcast. I beat the first one. I never actually beat the second one. So I have this on here. Another game that I officially bought that's from the past is the game called Star Wars: The Force Unleashed. This is actually the Ultimate Sith edition, so it has
One
all
of
the
my,
content.
not even one of. That's my favorite Star Wars game. I've beaten that like
Yeah,
three.
so that one I got the PC version. So hopefully I can crank it up a lot better and enjoy it in its all its glory, right? I do have on here Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League.
We'll get
Um,
through it.
I have it. He said we'll get through it. Tiny Thor, a game that I started a while back. I don't want to just stop on that. I'm gonna finish that. And then the last one is Vengeful Guardian Moonrider, another 2D hack and slash. You know, kind of look like a Power Ranger in a way. Um, yeah, and so that's my list there. Most of these titles are quick, except for Persona 4, obviously. So those are games that I plan to play with some of the PS Plus games, with some of the Blast from the Past games. And
Oh,
I
real
plan
quick.
to, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I have one more game that I forgot that I'm playing currently. So is this seat taken? That little puzzle game that I showed before, where you
Mm-hmm.
have the little shapes and you just kind of figure out how to arrange them so everyone's like win conditions, like happy in the game. I've been doing that as my like casual like ish like sometimes warm up game. Like I'll turn something on, and I'll just do that for like a couple
Mm-hmm.
minutes, and then switch to the real game. No offense to that, but I think I'm more than halfway, I believe, for the game. That's probably going to be beaten this year too.
Okay. I do want to keep a solid only 3 games in rotation, where it's like one AAA, one indie title, and usually one emulation. If not emulation, just one from the past, basically. And that'll be the rotation. And I kind of like don't add the new one until I beat like one or two of the other ones, just so I can make sure I'm beating these titles and enjoying them. But yeah, that's my 2026. I do still feel like my 2025 games beaten list is still a little light, even though it's 15. I don't know. Looking at it, I feel like maybe I could have did more. But yeah, that's the show. We'll see you people in 2026. Hopefully, enjoy the holidays and everything. Spend time with the fam. And yeah, like, comment, share, subscribe. I'll catch you on the next one. Peace.